Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Weeb Seen It Podcast. This week is episode number 48. As always, I am Cameron.
And I'm Jimmy.
And let's just jump right in. And we're back, guys. Thanks for joining up again. I think it's been a week. We skipped last week, right?
We ended up missing last week, yeah.
Yeah. We skipped last week, so it's been about 2 weeks. Honestly, it wasn't a terrible week to miss. I think technically maybe it was more, the episodes are maybe more dramatic than this week's in like a sense.
Technically, yeah. This week was more like build up and like wind up for the next arc as opposed to actually being eventful. But...
Yeah, I still think even like if it's build up, I probably thoroughly enjoyed like this week's episodes more than last week's for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, world building's always good, and I think that's what we got this week.
Yeah, so this is still relatively new into our whole fall season discussion. We got a couple things on the list today. So the big ones are, of course, it was the probably series, possible season, probably series finale of Fena, the Pirate Princess.
Yeah.
Of course, we have the continuation, the second core of the 86, which we have not yet talked about on our podcast this fall.
That's true.
We have Mushoku Tensei, also a continuation of a different season. We got Takt OP. We got the Faraway Paladin. We got some just like really quick ones here, like My Senpai is Annoying. We haven't talked about on the podcast yet. Ranking of Kings. I know you haven't seen it, but I want to talk on it briefly for the fans. We got in my previous life, I was the super best assassin. I can't remember the exact light novel title.
I think it's the world's greatest assassin reincarnated to kill
Is it the world's
hero.
greatest or is it the world's finest?
I don't know.
I think it might be the world's finest assassin. I don't know. It's a complicated title, but we're going to touch on that really briefly. Maybe while we're talking about those quick, we might bring in some other things. I think that one of the ones we talked about before was the Platinum End, which I'm not completely caught up on yet, so that's going to have to wait till probably next week.
Yep.
Demon Slayer is just currently the Mugen Train arc.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. I think you're currently watching it.
I'm currently watching it, but I didn't watch the movie.
Yeah,
so.
You have not seen the movie. I have seen the movie. Now I know someone's gonna, say that, hey, there's bonus content here. I will watch it before season 2 comes out.
I mean, the whole first episode isn't in the movie, so
I think it's gonna be mostly the first episode and the last episode of the arc. I think are gonna be the better branching between the seasons and the movie.
yeah.
But yeah, I will get to watching that. I'm trying to think of any other big. There's a couple that like are on my list to watch. Yeah. I think even some of them might be mentioned inside the question of the week. So we'll read that out first, and then maybe we'll figure out if there's any that are missing there. Okay. So of course, last week we missed the question of the week. I literally thought I remembered it, and then I forgot it as we were doing it. But as always, I'm going to leave a question down below. It's going to be the pinned comment. Just respond to that comment. Try to keep it relatively brief, just because we do read them all out. So if there's any like super big essays, I'm gonna do the short form. And then we'll read out your question. We'll read out your answer next week. So our last week's question was, what fall 2021 anime are you most excited for each week? And that's for me personally. It's got to be like Mushoku Tensei, which is a big one. And then it's I thought that was an acronym for GOT, but it's just got to be Mushoku Tensei. I think I mentioned this the first season it came out, like the core one.
Yeah.
Probably my most enjoyable anime. And there was some big anime that season too.
There was a lot of
I think
competition.
like ReZero was still going too. And I'm like, Mushoku Tensei was still my standout of the season with a ReZero.
Yeah, that was around the time Jujutsu was out, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a lot of really good anime, but Mushoku Tensei, I didn't like argue it was the best written or anything like that, but it was the one each week that I'd watch as soon as it came out.
Yeah.
But we got Vartik coming in. He said it's still early season, so at the moment I'm excited about returning shows like Mushoku Tensei and the 86. Plus those that I'm familiar with the source material, and I'm hopeful that the anime adaptation will be good, which are Muv Love Alternative and Meiruku-chan.
Okay.
Both ones I was going to mention. One's apparently an ecchi horror, from what I've heard, and then Muv Love Alternative is...
it's a mech anime, right?
I think so. Someone last week or something before mentioned in the comments that there was a different anime. Maybe the writer of Attack on Titan or something. Got a lot of inspiration from. I don't remember what anime it was. Someone correct me down below. Maybe Vartik, since he's a big fan. Then he said about 6 other series also got my attention after watching episode 1 with no prior knowledge, but we'll see with those. So he's waiting to see.
Okay.
We got MJSTX says Prob Mushoku and Komi-san. The first episode of Komi-san was super meme worthy. That also brings another point that we have not yet seen the first episode of Komi-san.
That is true.
Both of us intend to watch it. Just, we had other things to catch up on first. And hopefully by next week, we'll be able to talk about, at that point, maybe 2 episodes of Komi-san. So look forward to that.
I will say it is nice. They decided to actually do weekly with this one and not do the whole 1 season.
I have heard really good things about it too. Like, not about I was hearing these things before it came out, just about who was the, the creative team, working on it. And it sounds like it could be really good. And
looks like they nailed everything.
I'm excited. I like a good rom-com or, comedy, romance, whatever that category is. I'm a big fan of it. So...
Okay.
Next up, we got Noob at Redstone said 86 and World's Finest Assassin both seem to have a solid start. For sure.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of 86, a lot of Mushoku Tensei. Can't say I blame people. Next is Kazano says MT for sure is my most hyped. That series is going to blow people away, especially if any later seasons get adapted. Outside that, Faraway Paladin's first arc is amazing, and it'll be really good to see animated.
Okay.
Both shows we're talking about today, obviously, Mushoku Tensei and Faraway Paladin, both have made pretty good impact so far on the anime community, from what I've seen, just off Reddit polls and stuff.
True. I'm surprised you haven't seen more of it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. There's still there's 1 person left. And finally, Lucas Van Winggarden says Mushoku Tensei is the show I'm most excited for by far. If the anime adapts the story well, part 2 is going to be even better than part 1.
Damn.
I think that's fair in the sense with part 1 is a lot of setup, and I think if we're just going to get part 2 of them doing traveling back, going to different villages, meeting different people, having different struggles, I think that can definitely be done. And I'm going to come up with some bold opinions today on some of these core too, so keep an eye out for when they come up. But that's it for last week's question of the week. As always, look down below this week. Normally comes about somewhere between 5 minutes after the actual episode airs. There will be a comment down there. Respond to it. Nice short little answers, and then we'll read it out next week. Gives us some fun, gets us interacting with the audience a little bit more, and of course, gets more comments, to boost that algorithm.
Oh, yeah.
Got to cheat the system. I think other than that, though, we should probably get into the actual episode today.
I think so.
As always, going to crack open our non-sponsored drinks. I'm not going to put energy in front of that today. It is a late night recording session, which means there is no caffeine for me. But diet lemonade, just as good. Okay. First up today, we're going to talk about the series finale of Fena the Pirate Princess. I say series with a question because realistically, you could continue going.
Yeah, there's a whole other arc. I guess we should touch base on what actually happened before we start theory crafting.
Yeah, I guess. The funny part is for a series finale or season finale, whatever it actually is, I feel like you can go through the plot very fast. The big question so far in the show has been what is Eden? Who is Fena? All this kind of stuff building up. And we get all the answers to that in this episode.
Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I guess not all the answers. There's a lot of things that are kept vague.
Yeah.
But for the most part, Fena was just basically raised to make a decision on whether or not Earth should reboot or if Earth should keep going.
Yeah, and they go into the whole hey, your entire bloodline is dedicated to this.
Yeah, and it's not like the mother, for instance, it's not like it's just every single generation. It's specifically planned out. Her mother, for instance, was important in the sense where she had to breed with a specific person to get Fena, basically.
Yeah.
To be the one to make the choice. It's not like her mother didn't have to make the same choice. The last person was Joan of Arc, from what they implied inside the episode. Oh yeah, for the most part, it's literally just that they her. She just gets to make the decision. Hey, are we going to reboot this world in a Noah's Ark kind of situation?
Yeah, we pluck just the pure souls and revive them on this ark so that they can.
Yeah, literally, Fena gets to go and she gets to take her most loved person kind of thing, her true mate. So she gets a vision of that outcome, or it's the world can keep going, but the world's kind of fucked, and then we get a vision of here's how your friends are going to make out. They're all going to die in some battle somewhere. Not really important to the plot. It's just that they will all die. The world sucks. So they really tried, when you first get the 2 options, right? Do you want to destroy the world or keep going with the world? You're okay, one's a bad option, one's a good option, but then the visions try to swap it on you.
Yeah, it's very much everyone you care about is going to die if you choose to keep the world going.
Yeah, well, sure, most of the people you care about will die if you end the world. But look at this cool boat, you're there with Yukimaru, you guys are just jamming.
Everyone else is gone.
Yeah, but I mean, they really try to sell her on that decision, I think.
Yeah.
And then the other big thing, of course, is that after the decision is made, no matter what the decision is, she will lose all of her memories.
Yeah.
Which I think is the more dramatic part for her. I don't think there was ever truly a question for us as to which decision she's going to make.
Oh, yeah. It would have been a huge twist if she chose to end everything and just be with Yukimaru.
Yeah, that would have been a very big twist, but I don't think people would have been very happy with it.
Probably not.
But yeah, the bigger twist is just that, she's going to lose all of her memories. Means that she's going to forget about her love for Yukimaru. She's going to forget about her friends, all the great adventures she's had with these friends, being the captain of this little motley crew.
Yeah.
And that's just like the big drama. A lot of the episode is just very nice visuals between there's a nice sad moment where she's fading away. You're like, Yukimaru's like, I'll find you no matter what. And she's literally right there after. I was like, well, at the time I was watching, I was like, okay, like, is she dead here? Because she's like acting like she's dead, and then she's like, oh, the memories. I'm like, okay, yeah, memories. But like, are you getting put somewhere else? Are you vanishing and he's got to go find you? I was like, that's a season 2 worthy right there.
Yeah, like does this kick you out of Eden, or like keep you in Eden, kick everyone else out, and he has to go find it again?
It's just gonna put her somewhere in the world with no memories, and Yukimaru's like, I'm gonna fucking find you, Fena, no matter what. Like that's dramatic, and you're like, yes, I will watch that season of Yukimaru traveling around the world finding Fena. But it's not like that. It's not like that
she's literally like 20 feet away. She dyed her hair.
Yeah, quick hair dye. I'm not gonna lie, actually. I think that she looked better with the dark hair.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, the brunette was definitely the way to go.
Once they have the like when she's in like her like Fena outfit and that kind of stuff, in the next little montages, it actually looks better. Yeah. But yeah, she she makes her choice. She basically is just like, hey, obviously, I'm not going to destroy the world. I want to believe in people, that kind of stuff. I'll find a way to save them. I'll find a way for them not to die, even if I don't have memories, kind of thing. Yukimaru's all like, yeah, I won't forget you. He's like, I'm big into you, that kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
well, I'll be with you this entire time. I'm literally never going to leave you. She, vanishes, turns into a cool spirit little thing. He wakes up on a beach, then looks in the water, and she's right there, just with dark hair.
Yep.
She's like, who are you and who am I? And he's like, oh, I'm Yukimaru. You're Fena. Their crew pulls up. And then most of it for the next little part is almost like a little montage of them traveling back to all the places they'd been, seeing if it would like kickstart her memory back.
Yeah, I do like how when they roll up in the ship, they just have a bunch of treasure with them.
Yeah, they're pointing, like the Shitan guy is like pointing to the sword. They're all just like, look at all our sick treasure.
Yeah, well, the sword was like the reason they were supposed to support Fena, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's fair that he's just like, hey, look, I found it. Like, I'm the guy who did the job here. Even like we see a scene of him handing the sword to like the brother. I'm like, man, this brother was so hyped up just for him to be handed the sword. Be like, good job, guys. Yeah, you did it.
It's like, okay, betrayal forgotten. You're good.
You guys are good. You got the sword. We even get to see a return of the blonde lady from Germany.
Yeah, which can you imagine having that happen? Just like dude rolls up, it's like, hey, this is my girlfriend. She lost all her memories. I was hoping you could remind her some shit.
He was probably hoping that the jealousy she felt at the blonde lady would like resurface.
You think Yukimaru knew about that?
No, but maybe everyone else did though. They understood.
That'd be a Shitan thing.
But yeah, really, it kind of just leads toward, for the most part, the end where they're just on the boat. Like we see her relearning a bunch of stuff, but they're on the boat, and it really just comes down to Yukimaru finally being like, "Yo, I love you, by the way."
Yeah.
He turns to the side, his ears get already, says, I love you. And then she hits him, and then she's like, I've been waiting for you to say that. I'm like, wait, do you have your memory back now or no? Like, was her memory instant kick back there?
That's all it took.
Or is this just new memory Fena has also fallen in love with Yukimaru and was just waiting for him to say that?
Yeah, I mean, it could even be like someone else filled her in. It's like, by the way, he's in love with you.
By the way, you were in love with him too. Yeah, it could have been, I guess, a lot of series when they end, they do this thing where they're purposefully vague, Yeah. You don't have to...
the adventure continues.
Yeah, like that's, we don't know if new Fena, because like the whole point of this is almost like the sense where they're like soulmates. It's just like kind of like the fact of the show. Yeah. So I don't think it really matters that she loses her memories. I like to compare it to... I know this is deep. By deep, I mean not at all related to the culture we're talking about. Have you ever seen the movie The Vow?
I think so,
It's got Channing Tatum, and it's got Rachel McAdams.
Okay.
So they're in love, they're married. Car accident, she loses all of her memory, her like recent memory. She still thinks she's like 19 or like that. And then, obviously they get less married because she doesn't remember him. Yeah. But then it's based off a true story. They still fall in love at the end and get married again, but she never got her memory back. And the entire time they were alive, they're like 60 or something now. She never got her memory back, but they're always in love,
Right. That's
possibility for someone to argue that soulmates at least exist. Right. Or that like people are meant for each other in some sense, even if you have like more than one. Okay. And Yukimaru and Fena got that. So whether or not her memory came back, and then she's like, I've been waiting for you to say that for the last however many, since I was like 8 or whatever the fuck it was, or if it's just new Fena, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, because I mean, she'd been traveling with him for quite a while at that point.
Yeah, if they went all the way across like the world. So
yeah,
I mean, if Fena's easy to like, we don't really know how much time truly passed.
Yeah,
but they were traveling on like a worldwide scale. So
yeah, so we're looking at least a year based on how much travel.
Yeah. Obviously, I would love to see a season 2. I don't think it would happen just because it would like be having to set up like a brand new plot.
Yeah, unless the plot is specifically trying to get her memories back.
Yeah, even like without the trying to get the memories back thing, like just the fact that you've hinted at that all these characters are going to die if Fena chooses this option, and then we choose that option to leave us off just being like, oh, it's cool though. But like Fena and Yukimaru are still in love. Like, okay, that is cool, yeah. But like all these characters are going to die though. Like when, you know, like can we go back to that? So.
Yeah, like the thing is, you didn't see Fena in that vision, so it makes you wonder: like, did they die trying to protect her, or is this just like some random battle their village is involved in?
This might not even be like the actual future. This could just be like, hey, we're gonna show you something. We're gonna show because they're all like the same age they are now and the same armor. It could just be like, I'm just gonna show you these people dying in like generic battle number 10. You know, like they'll die at some point. Like this is close enough.
True.
I don't know. I hope we hear something. Like I would love for them to be like, hey, there's a season 2 coming out. Like, look at this sick art or something like that. You know, I'd be happy with it.
Yeah.
But I can also very much foresee them not doing it and just, you know, standalone 1 season show.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of argument for that show that knows when to end, as opposed to dragging it out and just making it painful. So
yeah, I mean, the entire plot was about like her mysterious, not really past, her mysterious heritage mixed with like the Eden mystery. Yeah. So now that all that's gone, you're like, okay, well, they can't just like make a new plot in season 2. But realistically, with like once you have a good cast of characters, you could make a plot anything and people will watch.
That is true, but other than Fena and Yukimaru, did we really get much characterization? Like maybe a little bit of Shitan?
Yeah, I mean, but I still think that with the little time they had, they were a very likable crew.
Oh, they were definitely likable.
If the show decided to do a 50-episode show, we could get like whole little arcs to some of these characters, and I mean, like, you know, like I would love to see more with like the twins. They're cool characters, or cool little engineer girl. Like I feel like there's a lot of room to grow, but like the show didn't really care that much about those characters.
Yeah,
it's about Yukimaru and Fena.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's not enough there for them to carry a second season, and Fena and Yukimaru are done basically.
Yeah, unless it's like a Fena got her memories back there, and now she's like, oh yeah, by the way, all y'all are gonna die. Like let's try and stop this somehow.
I mean, she could very easily say, like, if you're on a hill and the other side's on fire, don't go over the hill.
Yeah, they'd still do it though. They'd still do it. Because she would be on the other side with the fire. I don't know. We literally have no idea. I don't know if, once again, like obviously it's a Crunchyroll original and an Adult Swim original. I don't know if it's not based off anything.
I don't think so. I never saw anything about any source material. So
yeah. So I honestly, I guess people have just as little of an idea as we do. But if you know anything, feel free to write down in the comments down below. The big guess would be that it was a series finale, but I wouldn't be upset if they decided one day to be like, hey, we're gonna come with a second season.
Yeah. I mean, usually if a series is going to do another season, they'd put something in the end credits.
Yeah, that's kind of like the nice thing more anime do these days. But I guess they didn't. I watched everything right up till the end, and nothing, sadly. But you know, maybe someday soon we'll hear more about Fena. If not, I'm just excited to hear people's opinions on how they thought the show was in general, how they thought the ending was. I almost I don't know. I would have been just as entertained watching that cast of characters not do an Eden plotline, like just be like, yo, like if they just had to go find a sword and like a. You know, or find like El Dorado, or like basically find a sword and like a hidden treasure somewhere in the world. I would have been just as entertained as if it wasn't like we had to find out this whole Eden situation with this like apocalypse level, you know, disaster in a sense.
I mean, honestly, it feels like it spiked at the end.
Yeah, it did. That's what it was like. I felt like, you know, it's all about like their team and like the, you know, where they go to Germany and then they're in the caves and, you know, the female pirates come and they like steal them. I'm like, okay, these are like good episodes. I'm liking like the plot is still kind of hidden. There's a little bit of, you know, mystique or, you know, mystery in it. But then I feel at the end it was just like the side cast was just kind of like, who cares?
Yeah,
just
they're in the treasure room fighting some musketeers and
weird Eden thing. Even like the whole like Abel thing, like or Abel, his character kind of at the end was just like, like, you know, is he bad? Is he good? Like what's going on?
Yeah, I don't even know. Like up until this point, like he's been a pretty unlikable dude, and then at the end, it's like, okay, he kind of got driven insane by this.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's just like what he is, but you still realize because you're supposed to dislike him after you figure he attacked Fena's ship when they were younger.
Yeah.
But like her father wasn't even really her father; it was just the person making the whole events go. And anyway, so like, do we really care about that then?
Was that the case, or did that just take the form of her father to say like, hey, this is what you're bred for?
No, they specifically said that her father was the King of England. Like they said that, you know, your mother was this person, your father was, you know, Edward, King of England, or whatever it was.
Right.
So that guy is just the one who convinced her after getting pregnant with the king to run away.
Yes,
so I think he was there to keep shit going.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, that's, you know, Fena, Princess of England.
Yeah, but do you think she's going to be able to claim that?
No, especially if she doesn't have her memories. But yeah, I don't know. I would be intrigued if they ever wanted to come up with more because you could do more with these characters. But then there's there's always the question of like, yeah, just because you like a cast of characters doesn't mean you should just put them in all sorts of wacky situations.
Yeah, this almost might be worth like a non-canon season, you know?
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun if we're just like a little spin-off, you know?
Like even just something like filling in the gaps of their journey.
Fen and Yukimaru off on their honeymoon, and then the other crew's like, yo, guys, we need to go collect an arrow from China. Let's go, crew. And we're like, yeah, okay, yeah, let's do it.
An arrow from China.
I'd watch it, yeah. I don't know. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
but yeah, I'm curious. Let know down below what you guys thought about the Fena series in general and the season finale, and if you think there's a possibility we might see some of these characters come back. For now, though, I think that's going to be it for us talking about Fena. So if if you enjoyed it, let us know down below. And we will not be talking about this next week. So don't look for it.
Unless there's a huge surprise.
Unless there's a huge surprise, which would be shocking in itself. But moving on from Fena, of course, this week, the first time we're talking about it of this podcast in fall is the 86.
Yeah, we're 3 episodes in at this point, right?
Sure. The whole Core 2 thing with the episode number, I get mixed up nowadays. I swear to God, like Cores were not a thing when I was younger.
They used to just be different seasons.
Yeah, or like you just wouldn't know because I mean, how many of us really watched anime while it was airing on TV?
Nope.
I can think of like one that I think I was actively watching each week, which was Death Note. Even stuff like I started watching anime through like Naruto and One Piece on stuff like YTV, I think at night, and that kind of stuff. But even a lot of times they weren't always just like, hey, this is the next episode. I started doing that at some point with like I think like Naruto once I got like the late episodes. But like Death Note's one of the earliest ones I think about that I was actually watching on TV. Everything else was like, watching on like AnimeFreak.tv or stuff like Kiss Anime in the later times.
A lot of it was just watch the whole series at once.
Just binge watching series. So the whole core thing just seems so new. Because I think was episode 14 came out yesterday for 86? Because they were like Mushoku Tensei. They ended with 11.
Yeah, so that it would have been 14 because this was episode 3 of this core.
Okay, I thought for some reason we had 4 episodes of this core.
No, because we were on episode 2 last time we talked about it. So.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make a bold statement right here. Okay, I don't know how bold the statement is to be honest because I have no idea. But I think so far the second core is better than the first. I guess maybe depending on what you might like, I like the plot more of getting. So obviously the first episode starts with Middle Ends. Yeah. We see. I don't think they explicitly mention how long it's been.
No, we have no idea how the time syncs up.
So yeah, we know she was demoted. She's no longer the captain of the Spearhead Squadron. She's just got a different squad. But she's doing well. She's like we get the Malens we got at the end of last season where she's a little bit more heartless. She's still obviously not heartless. She cares a lot.
Yeah.
But like she no longer cares about what people think about her as much. Now she's just like dedicated to doing like her own personal mission of trying to, in a sense, like save the world.
Yeah, she's very much. She still cares about the 86, but she understands that shit's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
So she's preparing for a large scale invasion.
So we see her interacting with her crew, and we see like the main girl. I don't know if they named her.
They called her Cyclops.
Yeah. So they see and like you can tell that these 86, it's like different than the ones we're used to. Like they have like a level of respect for her. They're like, it's not like Shin who would only talk to her when he had to and like wouldn't give her updates. This like they're calling her at all random times, being like, hey, here's an update in the situation. She's like, okay, here's what you're gonna do. Keep me updated on this. Like,
I mean, I feel like they might have heard what happened with the Spearhead and thought, okay, like she actually does give a shit.
Yeah, or even just like her attitude coming in day one is gonna be very different than her attitude coming in day one with like the Spearhead Squadron.
True.
So I think they might just learn to have to respect her much faster. But at one point we see her getting called into the office anyways. The dude's yelling at her, and she's like, "Listen, dude, I don't give a fuck." She's like, "I'm your top performing, like, your top performing person. Like, what are you gonna do?" And he's like, "Okay, fine."
Yeah, he didn't have a lot to say after that.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, yeah, she's kind of a badass now. And really, then we see obviously she still has like her little board with all the names and that kind of stuff. She has the box, so she's like, this is or she's got she's basically we see again her having the conversation with the Cyclops girl. Being like, she's like, why do you even ask my name if you're not going to use it? And she's like, because like, I want to like know names kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just from her like past with Shin. And then really after that, we haven't seen her again.
Yeah. We saw like one conversation where she was talking to some underlings about like the condition of like their at extra defenses, like the minefields and the howitzers and all that. But that was it.
Yeah. And then since then, obviously, now I'd like to go back. I'd like to rewind us back to the end of last core where Jimmy didn't believe we were going to see those characters again.
Okay.
I'd like to remind us back. We were here, and I'm like, listen, I think we're gonna get more Shin next season. You're like, nope, they're all dead.
They were dead. They showed him without a head.
Jimmy's giving me the middle finger, like, nah, dude. They dead.
I honestly am still wondering if this is actually happening or if they're like in the machine right now being tricked.
Nah, I'm gonna believe it's happening. That's a good machine if they're being tricked. But yes, since then, we get Shin in the next episode. Shin's waking up. He's waking up some doctors around him, that kind of stuff. He quickly learns that he was actually rescued by like the Giad Empire or something along that lines.
Yeah.
A different civilization that we didn't know exists technically.
It wasn't the Empire; it was the Federation.
Yes, so they were rescued by them. We see his whole little the remainder of their squad was rescued right in time, thank God.
Which no one died really.
Yeah, I don't listen. I don't say.
That's either a major plot convenience or something's up.
Yeah, there are. It would make sense for it to be like not in all a dream situation, but like in their head kind of thing, just with some other stuff that we find out later. But for the most part, they wake up here and then they're told to like go live normal lives. The guy's like, okay, I'm gonna like after like a couple months, he's like, okay, I'm gonna adopt y'all. You're gonna come home with me.
Yeah.
Because all of them, when asked what they want to do, they're like, oh, put us back out. Like, let's get us back into this war. And they're like, no, children don't fight wars. Like, go live a normal life. So then we get this like jarring next scene where it's like is it 1 year or something or a couple months?
I think it was a couple months.
You got like, what's his name? Like Raiden or his name is. He's just like working. He's like works for a moving company.
Yeah, he works for a moving company.
You got Anju doing like cooking courses.
Yep.
Shin's he's just like studying, isn't he? He's at the library.
Yeah, I think he's like at school or he's studying at the library. So
yeah, you never really see what the stupid redhead girl's doing other than maybe wanting to buy clothes. Like that's all she gets.
Well, she said she never got to go out with like friends and do all that. So I think that's what.
Yeah, and then we see the blonde kid. He's just drawing.
Yeah.
So they're all like living semi-normal lives, Shin meets a guy at the library the one time, chilling with him, talking about how he's got a little sister. They're introduced to they're almost like a new little sister character for them, which is like Frederica.
Yep.
And she's kind of one of your classic annoying like sister-like characters. Yeah. She grows as like the show goes on, obviously, and you get some pretty big information about her.
Yeah. I don't know if she grows, but you definitely get information from her.
Yes. But in general, there's just this like none of them feel satisfied. Like you're seeing them do these things, but they're all like coming to the point where like they all feel like this is not where they belong. For the most part, to the point where they're like, hey, like they all like it's like Christmas or something. They're like, hey, we want to go back. Like we want to go back home.
Yeah, they're very adamant they want to go back to war.
Yeah, and the guy who adopted them was like, no, like you guys don't want to go back home. Like you only think that you're like forced to fight that kind of stuff. They're like, no, we do. Yeah. And then the Frederica girl. She shows up. She announces who like she is, and then she's like, "Let them go." Like she's like, let them do it." So who she is? She said that she was one of the original Empire that made the Legion.
Yeah. She's the heir of the Empire that made the Legion as unmanned soldiers that turned against them.
Yes, but how old is she?
She's like 14, or no, not 14, like 9.
How is that possible? How many years ago was the Legion?
The Legion's only been active for like 4 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Well, that's fine then. I thought there was something like supernatural going on with her. I mean, she obviously has some level of supernatural.
Oh yeah, she's got the same bullshit as Shin going on, but no, the Legion.
She's got a slightly different one. She sees a little bit of their past and a little bit of their future.
Oh, okay, yeah. She has a different supernatural bullshit. But yeah, the Legion was unleashed. That's why they were saying like, oh, they've only got 2 years left because they had like a 6-year operating span.
Okay, so yeah, she's part of them originally. She's like, listen, you can all hate me right now. They're like, nah, that's cool.
Yeah, you didn't do it yourself.
Cool. They're like, yeah, we don't really got time for hate. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, we got other people we would hate a lot more if we did. So.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, we got so many people above you on the hate list that we'll get to you one day.
Yeah, unless you built them personally and set them loose, like you hit the big like rampage button or something.
Yeah, and there are basically two stipulations. One is mainly on Shin. One is by like the man who like adopted them. He's like his name's like Ernst or something. He's like, okay, like if you guys want to go back to war, then like do it by going through the schooling here, like the warring schooling here, and like join the actual like army basically.
Yeah, go through the officer school so you're not just cannon fodder.
Yeah, so they're like, okay, sure, whatever. And then like Frederica basically says like, oh Shin, I want you to help me. Like, I want you to kill this dude. You know, do your classic Shin things. You know, he's gonna be a legion now. We need to take him out. And Shin's like, okay, sure. And yeah, then the next episode jumps forward. They're in they're I guess we see briefly them in the training. We see Shin still doing Shin things like doing his triple backflip with his machine and all that kind of shit. We see Eugene is now joined, because to make money for his sister. Shin, shit talks him a little bit, says, hey, don't join. You shouldn't have joined the army. Like, go home to your sister, you little nerd.
Yeah, I do like how that was such a huge death flag.
Yeah, character. I mean, we all knew Eugene was getting introduced just to get killed anyways.
Yeah,
but...
he might as well have had "I'm going to die" next episode on his forehead.
Yeah, it wasn't even next episode. It was like the same episode. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it would have been the end of the episode. Yeah,
because that wasn't this week's episode. It was last week's. But yeah, a lot of it though is we're still seeing that like the 86, they fully acknowledge like in this episode and the last one, the 86 here, they're not treated worse than they were before, but they're not treated equals. They're still not equal to regular people. Yeah. Here, people like pity them.
Yeah, they've got this whole image of being like children forced to go to war, and it's like, I mean, yeah, but
yeah, there's like TV things that are like help the poor 86 children. And they're like, okay, like they're like, yeah, like sure, we're not being treated awful here. Like this is not a bad place. He's like, but we're still not treated as equal humans, and like that's the whole point. So none of them feel very comfortable. But I mean, this is really just they want to get back out. And they want to do their job. The other big thing in this episode, of course, is that like we all know that Shin has a super sick, useful power when it comes to fighting the Legion.
Yeah,
but he's not telling anyone about it.
I mean, would you?
No, that's what even in this episode where he's like, hey, listen, like the Legion aren't the only people that fuck with brains. Like they will experiment on you if they find this out, if they can find a way to use this. Which isn't too shocking because they've literally done that before to develop para raids. Is how they developed them.
Yeah,
is by human experimentation on his bloodline, basically.
Yeah, I mean, on the plus side, they don't need to do that to develop another para raid.
Yeah, right. Bright side, yeah. So it all kind of works out.
Although I guess they only had like the implants, they didn't have like the actual node.
Yeah, they have like the ear pieces now.
Yeah, they don't have the central node that the processor would have.
No. But a lot of it, like even in this most recent episode, the end of the next one, we did see like Eugene die. We see Shin still having to go up and kill him basically with his little gun, take him out. So he doesn't become a Legion, and it's still just like you can't really tell where Shin's at all the time.
Yeah, he always looked dark, and he seems darker now.
Yeah, but it's like even like when they were living their peaceful lives, they couldn't really stay that way forever. They all knew that. They were just kind of enjoying it while they could, and they're like, okay, time to go back out.
Yeah.
And even in this episode, Frederica's like, yo, Shin, like, you got to start thinking about the future. And Shin's like, someone else has told me that before. It's like, yeah, you got to decide something to look forward to, something that's going to make you want to come out of these battles alive.
I feel like he's almost looking at, like, that's kind of a death flag, because everyone else who looks forward to something ends up dead. I
mean, someone has to die in, I don't know if it's the next episode, because in this episode, the kind of the ending point to it is that there's a very large Legion group coming.
Yeah.
And Shin's like, hey, I told them how big it was, and they don't believe me. They're like, no, we have good analysts. It's not that big. Like, you got no proof for this. And he can't come and say, no, listen, I know exactly how many are coming. So
like, I could give you exact numbers.
Even like Raiden over the name of this is like, hey, you did what you could. You told them that. If they choose not to believe you, that's fine. But like, it sounds like it's gonna be a big battle.
Yeah. I mean, who do you think is gonna drop?
I still don't think any of the main characters. I think they're fine.
I don't think there's any secondary characters introduced to get Merc, though.
There's still that ginger kid. He was heavily injured in the most recent episode. They show him briefly. The one who
didn't have any hands left. How's he going to pilot a Vanderkant?
I don't know. He'll be fine. He'll find a way. We have the big bulky guy that was with Shin giving the report.
True.
You got their captain, like their lieutenant lady, the blonde or the
I don't think she's going to be fighting, but.
I don't know. She might die.
I do want to note, like, the fact that her first thought when she saw the Juggernauts, which were basically aluminum coffins, was, I want to replicate those.
Well, she's fully admitted in this episode that she saw them, thought that whoever made them was an idiot, and then wanted to replicate them. But they're like, yeah, like, sure, you made them even faster, but you did not make them any safer. And she's like, oh, shit. She's like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, she did say, like, she always thought, like, if ours were faster, maybe some of my friends would have lived.
Yeah. And even at the end, she's like, and wait till, like, next time, you won't be saying all this shit because, like, I'm going to fix it all in the next upgrades. So she's like she's designing these things out of a good place.
Yeah.
She just like, and, they do need the feedback. And she got the feedback. So
that is true. It's not like the heavy armored models are doing much.
No. Like, I mean, I feel like even if they made them much sturdier, they would be less fast and less useful, and Shin has a very particular fighting style in them anyways, so that would probably take away from it. But I don't know. There's a lot going on. All I saw, I went to the very end of the episode and I saw a brief little thing where it showed Malen's again. So I think she's coming back next week.
Yeah, they're gonna flip back and forth between them. I don't think they're gonna go too long without seeing her. So,
which is good. We kind of still need to know what's going on with her side, but I like the whole like Shin side, their new little town. That kind of stuff, them interacting with other characters who still don't treat the 86 like human, but in like a very different way.
Yeah, it's almost the exact opposite treatment.
Yeah, they just pity them so much now because they were child soldiers. Even though now they've got to be like adults now.
I mean, I feel like they're pushing, because a gunslinger, the redhead, I think she's still in like the 15, 16 range.
Okay, because I was gonna say like I feel like they're like just as old. It's anime, so it's hard to judge age by looks because they look just as old as all the other characters that are being shown here, but they're all like fucking young kids. Like
yeah, I don't think any of them have cracked 18 yet. Like maybe Shin and Raiden, but
there is also in this most recent episode, Frederica explains that like the guy she wants Shin to kill, he was even technically of Shin's bloodline. It's Kiria Nyozen or whatever his name is. And it kind of gives his little backstory about when the whole like Legion thing first happened with like the war that was on them and him kind of going insane and all that kind of stuff. And just giving us a little bit of reason for Shin to be like, I guess I should kill him. Yeah,
she goes into the whole Ernst saved her even though she was supposed to be dead, just showed her mantle when it was his strength and personality that convinced people.
Yeah.
But he saw that and went out and basically suicided to the Legion. So
yeah, she was like he kind of went mad anyways. He was like face stomping and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, she was his sole reason to live. So
well, it wasn't. He didn't. I don't think he. It's confusing at that time because technically he wouldn't have died to the Legion because at that point the Legion was still fighting on their side.
Well, at that point, she said he went out.
She said specifically he was like using his leg. He was like using his feet to like crush people's heads and stuff because they were fighting actual people, and they developed the Legion to fight them.
But after he thought she was dead, he went out to the battlefield where the Legion was scavenging things and stood perfectly still.
Yeah, not a very good move. But I mean, I guess at that point they don't probably know all the things that are going on.
Yeah, he probably didn't realize like, oh, I'm gonna start.
I am excited for when we get a flashback episode.
Who are we gonna flashback on this time?
I think we just get a full episode flashback with Frederica and that guy, and we see the events of like the day.
Maybe.
I think that we should get something like that.
I mean, it would make sense. I think it might be later in the season, like once they're actually dealing with them. But
probably like once because we know this big onslaught of Legion are coming, and even she says that like, hey, he's going to be here. Yeah. He's gonna be part of them.
He's probably gonna be like one of those big battle station motherfuckers.
Probably, yeah. But now they got faster machines, and I don't know. So
yeah, cool. They don't have much backup either way from the sounds of it.
Yeah. I guess there's still issues. Like in the first couple episodes, like the first episode where this place is like almost looks like a utopia in a sense.
Yeah.
Like they still take the war more seriously than obviously like the place we're used to, but still I don't think seriously enough.
It's one of those things like the war is happening out there. They don't really realize what's going on.
Yeah.
And even, oh God, what was his name? The platinum hair dude.
Oh, Eugene,
yeah. He even says like the whole mascot idea is like basically giving them a hostage that they have to fight for.
Yeah, it's like the little sister program. They always take a little girl and put her into the army. Like, hey, look at this little girl in the army. You guys want her to die? They better do your jobs pretty well.
I know. I understand the idea that it could be like it gives you something to fight for, but it's also like it gives you something to fight for.
So obviously with like Frederica, it's different, right? She has a tie to this whole stake too. So it makes sense why she would be there. But like I'm thinking like previous generations and stuff, they're just like throwing little girls in the army.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like at some points it was like, oh, somebody's daughter got brought along to keep them sane.
They're literally talking about like looking down the 86s as like children soldiers, and they're like, yeah, but we put little girls in armies though to make people protect them.
I mean, I get that they're mascots, so they basically just live on a base, but
it's true. They just live there. They don't even dress when they walk around in the morning.
Jesus.
It's been enjoyable so far. I think that it's going to be nice bouncing back and forth and seeing both sides and still dreaming of the one day. Now there's like that big want for, not only the characters to meet, like that was obviously season one. You're like, oh, I want these characters to meet so bad, like Shin and Malens. But now it's more, I just want her to know that they're still alive.
Yeah, just that moment where she sees like some mad lad running around the battlefield in one of those, and she's going to go, oh.
Yeah, like just in general, the moment where she's like, oh shit, like they're alive somehow. It's probably gonna be really late in the season.
If we get it this season.
Yeah, if they're alive.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Let us know down below what you think about the 86 so far. If you're a fan of it, if you think this core is gonna be better than last core. No spoilers, of course. I know there is source material in this, so any spoilers, make sure to tag them and hide them down below with just to keep it nice for everyone else, for people that don't like spoilers. And we will be back next week talking about the 86 again. Next up on the list, of course, is Mushoku Tensei. I do not remember what episode it was again. I think it's episode number 15, which would be the 4th episode.
Yes, this one's one ahead of 86. So it'd be episode 4.
Okay. So, are we sure 86 doesn't have 4 episodes?
I checked it at the start of this because you made me worry I missed an episode.
Okay. Yes. Are you sure you're not still thinking about the missed episode?
No, I checked specifically this core. It only had 3 episodes.
Because, so if you look, the first episode is all Malens.
Yeah.
The second episode is where you find that they awaken in the place and they're doing all their normal lives.
No, the first episode had them awakening.
But they're not like doing all their normal lives and stuff, right? That's where it would start the second episode.
They're doing their normal lives in the second episode, but they awaken and they go through all that and get adopted in the first episode.
Okay.
That's the one I missed, and I was confused when we were first talking about it.
Okay, but then third episode, there's Eugene in the army and that kind of stuff, and he dies at the end. And then fourth episode is the one that came out yesterday or 2 days ago.
Huh.
You're like
I don't know.
You're like, I'm seeing that it's possible.
I know I watched all the episodes. That's all that matters.
Okay, we'll already learn by the time you guys comment on it, but someone comment down below as to how many episodes there are. Anyways, Mushoku Tensei, this is episode number 15, so this is for sure 4 episodes into this core. A very relaxing episode compared to last time.
It is.
Obviously, last episode we didn't talk about, we're in the little beast kingdom, like beast tribe.
Yep.
And there's the bad guy. Because what was the last episode we talked about?
Last episode we talked about was where, oh my god, I'm drawing a blank on the name. Rudy has got basically kidnapped.
That's like you're drawing a blank on the main character's name.
I wanted to call him Tiberius for some reason.
Wow.
I don't know
wow.
why.
Wow. So Rudy gets captured, but
they see him attacking the beast. He gets dragged away.
So in this episode, in the last week's episode, is where he's spending most of his time in the cage. He's learning little bits of information while being treated like absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
Of course, he meets a new friend who also gets sent to jail, and then they both escape around the same time that the village is under attack. And they learn that the main attacker is, of course, the man who helped Rudy get in touch with smugglers, as this was a big plan basically for them to go set the beast people free, so then they could be followed to then find their village and get more of the beast girls.
Which, wouldn't they have had to have attacked the village to get them the first time?
You'd think, but unless they found them out playing somewhere, or out, somewhere they weren't supposed to be.
Yeah, or maybe they weren't working with those smugglers. That's why it was okay with them all getting murked.
Yeah, maybe. Either way, this guy is a very good fighter, as we learned. I don't remember exactly what is he Sword King, Sword God?
He is a Sword King.
He is a very high level fighter. Everyone's kind of getting a little absolute murked by him. Of course, we still don't have any Rougerd or Eris, but with some of the best fighters we know in the show that are within reach, but they're not there. All we have is we got the who we learn, of course, is Ghislaine's brother in the newest episode. We have him. We have Rudy. We got is his name Guy?
I don't know. I know they keep calling him Monkey Guy.
I'm just going to call him Guy right now because that's mentioned at least once. And we got them, right? And that's the team we have to fight him off.
I mean, even then, Guy and Rudy are just we're going to run. And then Rudy sees it. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to bail. I don't have that big of an attachment. And then Rudy's like, oh, right. They're hitting little girls and stuff. I should probably help. And luckily they use a nice little combo. You have the real team player, the real MVP was the fucking Sacred Beast Dog. Thing just comes in, he dodges all the sword strikes. He's grabbing the sword with his teeth. I'm like, okay, yeah, I like this.
Yep, he does not give a fuck.
Even Guy at one point, I'm pretty sure, hits him with a 6 sand attack, lowers his accuracy. Semi-illegal move, but I guess it depends on what regulations you're playing by.
His fighting style is specifically about cheap shots. I don't think he gets to call that.
Yeah, honestly, the other guy's kind of useless. He's not that good, so he didn't really help that much. A lot of it was more just about setting up this big attack, where then Rudy just absolutely blasts the motherfucker with some fire.
Yeah, even before that, Rudy's like, okay, everything's on fire. I'm going to put it all out.
Yeah, he did obviously use a very, very large spell to make it rain.
Yeah, at that point, beastmen are suddenly able to fight because they can smell. I guess that's key.
Yeah, it helps.
I guess.
I mean, even though then all of those guys get immediately killed by him, but
except for Ghislaine's brother.
Yeah, it helps him out, I guess, a little bit. But yeah, Rudy absolutely fucking wrecks the dude with his magic spell. And he's not dead. In this newest episode, we learned he's just captured. He's in a cage there.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't kill him.
I would have just killed him.
Not even let him wake up and ask him questions. Straight up put him down right
you
there.
guys kidnapped Rudy for multiple days for touching your sacred beast, basically. But this guy has literally he just killed a bunch of people, and he's been kidnapping children from your village. Just take him right out.
Unless they're trying to figure out who he is selling them to recover them.
I like how rude they are still, that they still leave Guy in jail too after he just helped them save their village. He's still in jail.
Maybe he really he was in there for cheating at cards.
Yeah, that's a little aggressive. I don't know, but either way, Rudy, of course, is allowed out now.
Yeah.
The Rougerd and the Elder, and they all get back, and the situation's all explained. They all feel terrible, especially the woman who kept being an absolute bitch to Rudy for no reason. They all felt really bad about it, but it's all cool now, And then this episode, they mentioned it's been 3 months at one point.
a lot. It passed through the entire raining season.
Yeah, so during the raining season, it was just basically too shit out. Like, this was a lot of rain. This is like flooding. They all live up in trees, of course. We just see Rudy really does nothing with his time. He's like working on a Ruijerd statue. Yeah. He doesn't really do much. We don't see him practicing magic. Don't see him practicing sword play. Nothing.
I'm sure he was doing something. They're going to reveal that later as like, I didn't waste all my time. And
yeah, like even Ruijerd was doing stuff. We don't really see what he was doing, but at the one point you see him and like the village elder like getting along, and Rudy's like, when the fuck did these guys get close? Yeah, like he wasn't even paying attention.
I guess they were like just sharing stories.
So. I think he might have been like helping them with something else too. Yeah. But of course, the big main plot of this, the most chill episode for the reason, was just Aerith making friends. Yeah. Makes friends with the two young cat girls. Slowly teaches one how to sword fight. This one's like, I don't like sword play, and she's like, well, I don't like studying. She's like, but she's like, I love sword play because my master is absolute badass. And then a lot of the episodes focus around learning that Ghislaine, of course, comes from this exact village. Yeah. Her brother's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, not for the reason I thought it would be.
No, the brother first starts off by being like, oh, you like Ghislaine? Let's get the hell out of here. Like, we hate Ghislaine here. She abandoned her duty to protect the sacred beast. And you're like, okay, like, so Ghislaine was one of these people supposed to help protect, and then she left to go explore the world. Like, selfish by her, has big dreams. It all makes sense kind of, but you could still understand his dislike for her at that point.
I mean, based on the context, it was like, okay, maybe she ran away from a fight or something.
Yeah, and then like later he's like, yeah, so like my sister was basically a fucking idiot. Like, she couldn't speak. She couldn't do anything. She was like a feral beast. So then some people came to collect her, and I let them take her. I'm like, what the fuck?
You're not the good guy here. What the hell, man?
He's like, some like sword master came through and wanted her. So we're like, yeah, sure. Like, take her off our hands. Like, he literally says it like, I was glad that like I didn't have to, because I'm her brother, and I was like either like embarrassed or like tired of like taking care of her. So he's like, I'm glad they took her. And I'm like, and you were complaining that like she left the sacred beast. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck's wrong with you, guy?
Yeah, like you should feel guilty about this. And now you just feel bad because you realize she's actually a decent person.
Yeah, he's like, oh, wait a minute, she's good at stuff now? Okay, I guess she can rejoin our family then. Because, he at the end, of course, he has a little sword duel with Aerith. They just do the classic anime thing where they fly by each other and cut. Unlike normal anime, though, where then you see some sort of outcome, you literally see nothing. Even Rudy's confused. He's like looking around. He's like, oh, where's the one person who falls down, or the one piece of hair that gets chopped off? Like,
yeah, no, everyone else seems to accept the outcome, though.
Yeah, I guess maybe the fact that neither of them had any outcome was the outcome.
But Aerith acknowledged that she lost.
I don't technically think she acknowledged that she lost. I think that if anything, she's just upset that she didn't win.
Okay, like you're thinking it was just like a straight draw then?
Yeah, I'm thinking that the lack of anything happening just means that they were pretty even, and she's like, next time I'm going to win. Doesn't mean she lost. It means that she just didn't win this time.
Okay, I took it to be more like the guy could have won, but he obviously didn't cut her up. So
yeah, it was pretty vague with what happened, as it was pretty much the joke, obviously, with Rudy. And then, as she's leaving, he's like, oh, you're welcome back anytime. He's like, and bring Ghislaine next time, Yeah. Bring her up. And they're leaving. They're going for, I think it was called Millis.
Yeah, the Kingdom of Millis.
The Holy Kingdom. God damn it, religion and anime. Something's going to be happening this time for sure.
I mean, I'm sure it's going to be more chill compared to what we've seen. We haven't seen any like real religious fervor here other than the Demon Lord.
Yeah, they've been saving that for this kingdom that's probably going to suck.
Okay, then they just walk straight through and go somewhere else.
No, they won't do that. Some of the big things, of course, is that monkey guy, he escapes and comes with them. He's like, hey, I'm going that way anyways. And they're like, okay, sure, come along.
I honestly don't think he escaped. I feel like they just said like, oh shit, you're in jail. Piss off.
Just go. And then as they're going there, you see a couple of different like tablets.
Yeah, shrines,
monuments.
To the, oh god, what was it called? Like the Great Seven or something?
It was 7 of them, and they're all like god something, demon something, the triple backflip guy. They were all like really, they're like the most powerful in like each thing in like the world. And you're like, oh, are these just like fairy tales? And then I think Ruijerd mentions that like 4 of them haven't been seen in like a long time, but that means some of them have been.
Well, no, Ruijerd says that he dreamed of becoming one of them, but he acknowledged he isn't strong enough. It was the monkey dude who's like, well, 1 to 4 haven't been confirmed to be alive or dead at this point.
Yeah, but that means that the other ones must be confirmed to be alive if they're not mentioned.
Yeah, well, the last 3 were Sword King, Sword God, and like Demon King or something like that. And I think we know 3 people who have those titles.
Yeah, but it's like the best one. I feel like they can't just be anyone because multiple people are like sword. I'm pretty sure multiple people can be at each level.
I mean, true. But can you imagine if Rudy just finds out it's like, wait, shit, my dad's that big of a deal?
I mean, that'd be kind of funny. But it's like, I think that maybe in this Holy Kingdom we might meet one of them. He's like the lead. I don't know. We'll have to see. I know nothing about the source material.
Yeah, there has to be at least one of them there because I think one of them was the Holy King or something like that.
Yeah, and we're about to enter this holy kingdom, so I like the formula. Like I like that we didn't spend that much time in the Beast Tribe Village, but like we spent months there.
Yeah, it was a nice downtime. They fast forwarded through all the stuff we didn't need to see, and we just got to see the highlights.
Even in this episode, we saw a lot of like Eris growth, like not just in the episode, but even like just showing how much she's grown from the start of the episode compared to before.
Yeah, I mean, she was teaching people languages.
Yeah, she was teaching languages. She was teaching sword play in a good way. Like the girl learned really fast.
Yeah.
Even when she was mad at Eris, she's like, oh, she was a good teacher though.
Yeah.
And like even just in general, she was like, when they're in the fight, Rudy fully acknowledges that she held back because she didn't want to injure the other girl. She took more damage. Even when like the other girls are like getting really, the one girl's like pissed and that kind of stuff, Eris is staying pretty calm just inside of her room. Yeah. She accepts the apology immediately, and it's like, okay, so. See a lot of growth from her in the episode.
That is true.
I guess now we just have to see. I feel like Rudy. I guess his demon eye thing was the last time we saw like big growth from him, and he learned.
That was a power upgrade. It wasn't growth.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Someone in the comments at some point said that like we're gonna get some sort of reverse perversion from Rudy.
Reverse?
Yeah, that's what I was like. There's no way like Rudy's gonna become not a pervert. Like, there's not a sense.
I mean, even the start of this episode made me feel skeevy. It's like, really?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's fine. It was like, that's just like a classic. There's always like anime where someone's trying to watch other people bathe.
I know, but it was one of those things. I think it was on Discord with you guys when I was watching it. Like, wow, this is fucking awkward.
Hey, Jimmy, what are you watching right now? Definitely not a kid trying to watch people bathe.
Yeah, it was that moment of like, wow, why the fuck am I watching this?
It's just a classic Mushoku Tensei. There's one of those every couple episodes.
Yeah.
That's what I saw this. I was going to send it in the chat. There is, what are they called where it's like the circle graphs and there's always like the interlapping ones?
Oh, Venn diagram.
Yeah, so there was one and it's like war, horny, and wholesome. And there's a couple like in each of them, like some are like horny and war. The only one that was in the middle was Mushoku Tensei for a horny, horny, wholesome war anime. It's not really a war anime, but
I don't know. I feel like the Man of Disaster could be classified as like a natural war.
I'm sure there's just stuff going on in general, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's at war.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about Mushoku. It was really lighthearted, obviously. It's more just about having a good time in the village, showing Eris growth. And I think the next little arc in this Holy Kingdom whatever is going to be bigger, especially because religions in anime always suck. So
yeah, and they are big on like the whole holy aspect. Having a demon eye probably won't help with that.
There's also a chance too that in the next couple episodes we see more from like Roxy's point of view or some of the other characters.
That'd be nice because we know that they left, although they were going in the wrong direction for Rudy.
Yeah, but they could have been going in the right direction for Rudy's sisters or mom or maid.
Yeah, they were looking for the mom, the sisters, and the maid.
Yeah,
I guess not even the mom technically.
No, the mom they're not that concerned about. She can handle herself.
Yeah.
But one's a maid and two are babies, basically.
Yeah.
Young children. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait till next week to see what's going on in Mushoku. If you were a fan of this episode, let us know down below. As always, keep it spoiler free. I know a lot of you out there are big Mushoku fans, which means there's probably a lot of you who have read these source materials. So keep it secret, keep it safe. And we'll be back talking about Mushoku Tensei next week, as always. So I think next up on the list, we have like 5 we're just going to run through pretty quick.
Yeah.
I'm not really looking to describe what has happened in the most recent episode as much as I'm looking at just discussing some of our general feelings now that we're in that like 3 to 4 episode mark. Because if you guys are watching us talk about it, it means you've probably seen the episode. You probably don't need to know what happened. But we're going to start with Takt OP. So we have 3 episodes out now officially.
Yeah, and I recently learned that this is basically just a trailer for a gacha game.
Yeah, they were coming out with a game at some point. They're like, hey, let's do this.
So this is going to be the new Fate Stay Night. I'm assuming they're trying for.
In a sense, yeah. Like I think in like the same way. Like I don't think Fate Stay Night's story is that good.
Fate Stay, like their story is a mess.
But obviously one of the big things was the animation.
The animation
like
and the waifus.
Yeah. So I think and the husbandos, some cool characters in Gilgamesh, Archer. I mean, great characters.
Yeah. I still hate how the archers never use a goddamn bow.
He does for 1 second.
Okay, I want you to compare that to the other 1,000 weapons they all use.
The best character, anyways, is actually in Fate Zero, and it's Ryder.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it's Alexander the Great. He's a badass. But yeah, so Takt OP, basically a big extended trailer for a gacha game that'll come out. Very music focused. Crazy good animations done by Mappa and I think Madhouse, and got a lot going on. The first episode, it's one of those anime where you're thrust out in the middle of nowhere, and then for the next 2 episodes, you're given a wind back as to so you know what's going on.
Yeah, here's a hook, and now here's how we got to the hook.
Yeah, first episode, it's just, hey, this is the kind of post-apocalyptic world we live in. There's monsters. They surely love sound. And here's your main cast of crew. They already all know each other, and they're already like into their powers and that kind of stuff. We go back to episode number 2. It is our setup, so we're finally learning who these main characters are for the first time. And then obviously big reveal at the end when one of the characters gets his arm blown off and the other character dies. Just to come back as the music art.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense for what we knew from the first episode, but it was still kind of a shock.
I knew it had to have happened in some sense because the character of Colette was very different from episode 1 to episode 2.
Yeah.
Not at all the same girl. It was still kind of a shock when it happens, though, and then episode 3 just takes place immediately after 2. And now for this week when it comes out, I don't know if then the next one's going to take place after.
I think we're back synced up. And is it Colette or Cosette?
Is it Cosette?
It's Cosette because it's very French.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's technically Destiny. So
okay, Ume, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Which I do want to note, like, the fact that the music arts are named after music pieces is a nice touch.
Yeah.
I cannot think of a music piece named Destiny, though.
They mentioned specifically that there is one.
I know. I can't think of it, though. Like, I know Titan is by Mahler, but...
Listen, I'm not a music guy, so... listen, I don't know what to tell you. I know that he sure does play the piano well.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
I know animation's got a lot better at making people play pianos. That's one of the things.
Actually press the keys now.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed really early on.
Like, wasn't that like a huge deal for like the Angel Beats opening? Like, she actually pressed the keys for the half second.
That Angel Beats opening was epic back in the day, and that was one of the main reasons. But yeah, it's been very good so far. It's very just like you just have to really enjoy watching it. Animation heavy.
Yeah.
There is kind of a story going on. It's about them having to travel across North America. They have to go to New York to basically, because Cosette, as we learn in the last like 2 episodes, something's wrong with her. She doesn't work the same way normal music arts do.
Yeah.
But she also wasn't like created the same way normal music arts are.
Yeah. Apparently, you normally go through this process willingly, then have your personality erased.
Yeah, like you were supposed to be a music art, and you had to go through like a source, and that's what happened. Hers just like she died and then became one because of like a necklace she happened to have had.
Yeah.
Because there's this whole like fairy story with these monsters. Kind of, you learn about it in episode number 1. You're like, okay, sure.
Yeah, it was like the first thing, so of course it gets like lost in all the noise.
Yeah, it's like a narration story.
Yeah, we find out that their older sister is working in New York as studying music arts.
Yeah.
So that's probably where she got the necklace from.
So yeah, they're like, okay, we got to go get her fixed. She's specifically told there to be fixed by, what the hell was his name? The character, the big guy, was kind of feminine, like effeminate, and then he had his girl. I'm
not gonna lie, I just keep referring to him as Maestro, and I know that they refer to all of them as Maestro.
Yeah, his name was like Lemmy or Larry. I don't know.
I think it was Lemmy.
It was something along those lines. Very cool character, and they're like, "Hey, yo, you're broken. Go to New York."
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, we're gonna travel with you some of the way." We never see in the episode where they split apart, but we know obviously in episode number 1 they were not together.
Yeah,
so
we might get like the opening where they split apart and then cut to the part we ended at in episode 1.
Yeah, I cannot remember. This is probably the worst I've ever been in knowing which day all these anime come out. So I think Takt OP, the new episode, comes out relatively soon. Like it's an early on in the week one.
Yeah.
Compared to most of these Friday, Saturday anime. So we'll find out soon.
True.
But I think a lot of it's just about, I know a lot of people from what I've seen from like Reddit polls and stuff, they're really enjoying the anime. I don't think it's going to be like my favorite anime of the season at all. But I think I'm going to enjoy looking at it.
It's going to be one of those ones that's very animation focused because the story isn't grabbing right now.
Yeah.
Like other shows that rely on like a specific character to carry them, there's some sort of hook.
I think one of the big things too is that with any anime that has like these big kind of alien creatures as enemies, you're really lacking a good villain. And villains these days, now we've been spoiled just in entertainment a lot with really good villains.
True.
So if you don't have a good villain now, it's one of those things you feel like you miss out on.
Yeah, I mean, they did establish that there is some sort of force working here.
Yeah, and I hope we get some sort of humanoid characters just to really put like faces and names on characters to be like, oh yeah, this is directly the antagonist. Because I don't want it just to be like, oh, these are just D2s, you know, some big D2 monster coming out. You got to go kill it. Boom, boom.
Like there was some humanoid using some sort of tuning fork to bait them in, I guess. So
my question is like, are we going to get to New York relatively soon? And like the whole plot of the season is not going to be get to New York, and
it's going to be get to New York.
Because I feel like I'm going to like it when they get to New York, you know?
I don't think we're going to get there.
I know, but I feel like that's what I'm going to like.
Because they're cutting across to Las Vegas, then cutting south to New Orleans, then traveling along the Gulf of Mexico to get to New York. Because they're basically going there from, what, California?
Yeah, something like I think so.
Like, that's not a quick trip normally.
They need to find some airplanes. Airplanes don't make music. Thus, you should be able to go on them still. I don't know.
I mean, it seems like even having cars isn't like normal.
I guess it's just like traveling is not normal.
Yeah, like
get like 2021. Am I right?
Oh God,
This is actually just about our world. D2 is just the virus. You know what I'm saying?
Jeez, in a few years that might be true.
Yeah, entertaining show so far. It's definitely, out of everything on this list, it's not one of my standouts so far, but it's still fun to watch.
Yeah, I've been enjoying watching it, but it's not my first on my list.
No, definitely not. Even some of these smaller anime we're going to talk about in a minute, I think I'm enjoying them a little bit more. But I'm still curious as to one of these reasons we're just going to talk briefly about some of these, just to see how you guys feel about them. So I'm curious to see how you guys feel about Takt OP. Is it just one of those things that has crazy good sakuga and you just like looking at it, or is there going to be more behind with, is it going to have some substance behind it with some of this plot coming out? Or is it just a trailer for a mobile game? We will find out as we go on. So look forward to that and let us know feelings down below.
If nothing else, it's better than the last one we watched, which was King's Raid.
That's true. Can't be any worse. Another one really quick. I think this could be a big standout of the season is the Faraway Paladin.
Yeah, this is one that I didn't expect much from, but I'm really liking.
Yeah, I knew from episode 1 it looked really good.
Yeah.
Same thing. Like character design, I think was really nice. World design was good. We had kind of similar in a sense to like Mushoku Tensei as far as like the actual reincarnation process. He is born as a child, having his full human knowledge and memories right away. It's not something we get in Isekais that much anymore. A lot of the days now, it's like you're just put into a body in the new world.
Yeah, they skip the growth process and you're just automatically OP.
Yeah, and obviously these big mysteries are he's a child growing up and he's in a fantasy world and he's being raised by 3 types of like undead.
Yeah. We've got a skeleton, a mummy, and a ghost.
Yeah, so he's being raised by them, and as he's growing older, he kind of is curious as to why he is a human being raised by these undead. Where's the rest of the humans? All he knows is the area he lives around, which has like ruins and that kind of stuff. And it's like the little bit of mystery as he grows up. He's being trained in swordplay. There's this aspect of he's gonna have to pick a god to worship when he gets to the right age, and he's learning how to use magic. The magic system is a very classic fantasy, a word-based magic system, so like Earthsea, Aragon, a lot of really good. Some of my favorite works are always like word-based magic.
Yeah.
So that's cool, and it's kind of like the mystery level in the most recent episode. Like you've seen the newest episode, right?
Yeah, they kind of double down in the newest episode. So
yeah, in the newest episode, there's a couple big things going on. He's like, we learn why he is born to them kind of thing. Or, well, really, we find out he was just supposed to be sacrificed to a god. And then
some demons rolled up with him. They killed them. And just like, I guess we have a kid now.
Yeah, so, that gives them some hope. They were like, oh, we didn't want to tell you that when you were young because, like, you wouldn't really fully understand that you were just supposed to be sacrificed. But at least gives them the knowledge that, if he was pulled from some sort of town, it had to be semi-nearby. How far are they walking with a baby without being able to feed it or anything?
Yeah, I don't think demons would take very good care of it.
The downside of that, though, is that I don't think demons just walk into a town and grab a baby and leave everyone else alive. So
yeah, unless there's like devil worshippers who like snuck him out.
Maybe. I think he's going to travel, find the village. It's going to be destroyed. It doesn't. We don't need to know who his parents are because he has parents, right? That's the important part.
There's a very good chance we're going to go like full out with this and have his parents be bad people who like sold him or something like that.
That'd be kind of funny.
I don't know.
Okay, think about the last anime you can think about where parents sold their child to a demon.
Iruma.
Exactly. Kind of funny.
Okay.
Awful parents makes it to a wacky situation, though.
The same thing happened with like Hayate and.
Yeah. In general, like even in the last couple episodes, the Gus guy has been acting real sus. And then in this one, we learn more importantly about like this like war basically that happened that has put the world in the state it's in. They couldn't leave, so they didn't even know if humans were out there until Will got brought over here, which means there's humans out there somewhere. And then at the very end, we see this, they're all saying like heartfelt goodbyes to Will. And he's like, hey, why are you all saying the goodbye? Like, you guys are acting like we're not going to see each other again.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to come and visit. Because like he had his big duel with, oh God, why am I so bad with names today?
His name's literally Blood.
Yeah, I was thinking Skull, and it's like, that's wrong.
Yeah, he had his duel with him. He gets a lot of life advice and lessons. Yeah. And then literally this god comes down. It's like, oh, y'all ready to be taken now? Like, as per our deal. And then Will's like, no, what the fuck? He's like, I can't even move. Like, this guy's so powerful. He's like, what's going on?
Yeah, like I think he specifically said, you've finished with your attachments, so you can come with me now.
Yeah, and then you're like, ah, shit, they're done for. But then Gus comes out. He's like, not on my goddamn watch. And the god's like, oh, right, there was a magician.
The fact that he forgot you doesn't bode well.
It doesn't, but like they mentioned in this episode that like Gus was extremely powerful. He was like, it was his plan. He was like the one with the plan with the whole like city thing about going and
going in and stealing the weapon because that means you can fight the Avatar because he can't heal himself.
Yes,
and that didn't work.
The plan worked for the most part.
Yeah, except for the Avatar was too powerful and they couldn't deal with him.
Yeah, they just needed to enlist the help of the undead god. No big deal.
Who eradicated the demons and did something theoretically impossible and turned demons into undead.
Yes, and he did. They sealed. So basically what happened is they explained in the episode that Gus and Mary did not believe in blood. They full out say it. Like they say, we weren't sure if he was going to win. He was looking like he was losing, so we instead did this and we sealed him instead.
Yeah, which Blood himself said he wasn't going to win.
I know, but they could have had a little bit. They admit they're like, okay, we'd had a little bit more faith. Like maybe we were a little early on the sealing. So of course this character is only sealed, and that's what they were bringing Will over as sacrifice, try to undo a seal or something like that in the same line. But yeah, it's got a lot of mystery. It's got a lot of character like growth so far. Like obviously we've seen Will now go from, it's not in the same like slowness as Mushoku Tensei, but we've seen him go from being born to now he's 15. He just became a man in their world basically.
Yeah, I think he just hit 16.
We haven't truly seen him become a paladin. He's got sword skills. He's got magic.
I mean, we saw the armor at least.
We haven't seen which god he picks. That's a thing.
Yeah, it's actually going to be a really big thing.
Yeah, unless he just refuses to pick one. Well, he's got to be, the main character has to stand out. I feel like a main character can't just pick one of the gods.
I mean, I almost wonder if he's going to pick this god of undeath and it's like, hey, you let them stay here and I'll serve you.
Yeah, but can you serve an undead god without being undead?
I mean, the other ones ended up that way because they betrayed their gods, I think.
Yeah, I guess maybe if he doesn't have a god. If you only swear to the undead god before you have an actual god.
And I mean, there's different types of undead. Like he can end up something like a ghoul or something else that could pass as human. And
yeah, I think he's going to stay human though. But it would be kind of interesting if he did make some sort of deal about not picking a god or something to let them be alive.
Yeah.
Doing something for him. There's definitely a possibility there. I hope we don't lose those characters. Like obviously there's always this thing in anime with the main character having attachments to family, and they always kill off the family.
Yeah, like we might lose Gus.
Yeah, I would, Gus could sacrifice himself, but maybe Blood and Mary don't die. But there's a good chance they all just die anyways.
Yeah, there's a good chance maybe he's gonna try and fight, and then they're gonna no, we'll go.
Yeah, Will needs no attachments to go on his journey. But I think the really exciting part is just after Will leaves, probably next episode, it's like, okay, well now this whole story just opened up. Yeah, we know about the underlying. There's a demon lord basically sealed somewhere, sure, and but we don't know where Will's going to be. Humans, who are other? I don't even watch the opening. He was like, who are other party members that he's going to eventually meet up with and have fun with?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, they are all painfully generic.
Classic, just a big harem. But yeah, I don't know. There's after he leaves, there's a big open story that we can kind of find out as it goes, and the show looks nice too. So
yeah,
most important parts. So we're gonna keep talking about Faraway Paladin. It'll probably be one we actually weekly discuss, actually discuss the episodes as they come out. But I think first we just want to get our opinions out on shows we're watching.
I do want to make one question: if he's taking away the Guardians of the Seal, who's gonna watch over the seal and make sure it doesn't get undone?
No idea.
Okay.
The whole reason he's taking them back makes no sense to me.
Well, it's because they have no attachment, so he can bring them with him.
Yeah, but why does he want them now? They had no attachments before Will came there.
I feel like they had an attachment to try and stop the god coming back.
Don't they still?
No, because I think they're satisfied that they raised someone. Now it's like a parent letting go, right? So
yeah, yes, maybe, yeah. Then maybe they'll explain more in the next episode since they're still at this fight. But
true, we'll
have to wait and see. So next up is the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated as an aristocrat, not an aristocrat. That'd be a whole different movie.
I feel like that'd have some copyright issues.
It's your generic isekai, except for we gotta swap. Imagine if Kirito wasn't a little bitch. Imagine if Kirito wasn't some 14-year-old nerd in real life. Imagine instead he's like a 50-year-old trained assassin.
Yeah, I do like how they went with the older male here. Just like the dude who's at the end of his life, effectively, he's retiring.
Yeah. It was a good call. Even the first episode, we take a good amount of time inside the real world to show his skills, to show his character in there.
Yeah. Even setting up that he isn't just a ruthless killer, that he does this all methodically and there's a logic to it.
Yeah, but even at the end, his big regret is just that that he didn't really get to feel any of those emotions that normal people do. He had to put that all aside for his job. And then even in the reincarnation process, we see it's not just hey, you're in the other world, go. He's taking time in there.
Yeah, it's
not so much as the cautious hero time where he's doing a million push-ups to level up, but
I mean, even that had a logic to it.
Yeah, he's picking his skills. He's thinking about what he needs done. The big plot for the show is that he is reincarnated. He gets to live another life on the condition that he assassinates the hero, because the hero is going to defeat the demon lord and then become a terrible person and ruin the world.
Yeah, well, they don't even say if he becomes a terrible person. Like, he could destroy the world accidentally trying to be a good
It's
person.
true. But the whole difficulty is like the assassin. He's like, so can I like kill the hero right now? He's like, if I was like a baby and the hero walked up to me, can I like baby stab him with my soother? And they're like, no. You have to wait till after he defeats the demon lord, or else the world's still fucked. But then before he ruins the world, so
Yeah.
or they ruin the world.
Yeah, so I think
Not
he has like
gender-specific.
he's like a year time frame after he kills the demon lord.
Yeah, and the first thing I guess we should mention is the very first thing we see in the show is in this current world when he's like a teenager or something. There's
it's them. Like
there's
him
like
and his crew.
they're like selling women slaves, like young girl slaves, and then him and his crew are fucking wrecking the place. Basically, they got some.
Yeah, they infiltrate the place, and basically once they confirm what's going on, they just start pulling out weapons and blasting people.
Yeah, he's just sniping, right?
Yeah,
he's just sniping from a distance. But once again, like it is very power fantasy. The main character over the next 2 episodes is being raised as a boy. He's using the skills he chose and the knowledge he has of his previous life and just having a full adult mind to become OP.
What skills did he end up choosing? Because he chose the
the stamina, like the regeneration one where he heals faster.
Yeah, I think
he chose Spell Weaver, where he gets to create his own spells, which was very big in the last episode. Because then it goes, he gets 1 of every single grade.
Yeah, there was like 5 total.
It gets worse as you go. And even like the last one he specifically mentions, like, oh, how is this only a D grade? Like, this is OP. But now I can't remember what the hell they are.
Yeah, I feel like the D grade might have been like the Relentless Endurance. Because the idea is that you don't get tired.
Yeah, it's basically he crafted this perfectly to make himself overpowered to kill the hero. He thought about everything deeply. And like, the first episode's mainly him like training. We see some weird part where he's doing some naked stretching, and his dad's like, no, I'd naked stretch that way instead.
Yeah, there was a moment where I'm like, oh god, no.
there was like a split second. I'm like, where is this anime going with this father character? I'm glad they didn't go that way. He's just training how to become flexible and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, it was just like he's a doctor, and he's like, okay, you're growing well.
Yeah, the most recent episode was him really getting into the whole magic thing with his new magic teacher. And just becoming super overpowered. He can now make gold out of nothing with no consequences.
The fact that spell exists.
Well, it doesn't, though.
Oh, I thought it was a spell that existed, but...
No, he just took the word for, whatever they were making, iron or like that. He changed... They learned about other things. They changed syllables to make new words, to then do some crazy shit, but she couldn't do it. But then after he did it, and then there's some fancy magic stuff. I don't know.
It wasn't even. He applied scientific principles. It was the idea of, I think it was like atomic weights, electron valence, and all that shit.
Yeah, it was a bunch of stuff. All to lead in the end where he can make cannons and shit.
Yeah, even that he fired the cannons, like, a little too strong.
Yeah, he's making his own guns and cannons. Like, obviously, he's on the journey to become extremely overpowered. But the 2 big standouts are just like the character inside of him. It's not like the neckbeard neat that is Mushoku Tensei.
Yeah.
It's not 14-year-old gamer nerd that is like not My Hero, Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
It's a grown man with the skills to kills, very serious. And then the other standard thing is that the plot of him having to kill the hero.
Yeah.
After he obviously kills the demon lord, even though feasibly he could just become so powerful he can kill the demon lord and the hero.
I feel like they probably have some bullshit skill, like the demon can only be killed by the hero, or otherwise he comes back. Or...
Maybe even specifically at one point he asks, he's like, and like, what if am I allowed to not kill the hero if I can solve the issue of him ruining the world? And she's like, if you can solve the problem without killing the hero, sure, go ahead. I just don't think you'll be able to. So.
She never explains like how he does it.
No, and I guess that's one of the reasons that it'll be really hard to stop him from doing it. Instead of just killing him. Killing him's vague. You just got to kill him after that time, you're good.
Yeah, like, can you imagine you just finished killing the demon lord, just sniped?
Yeah, that'd be his party is all like, we did it. And he just gets insta kill. Like, oh no. There's also, okay. So, entertaining anime, very standard isekai power fantasy, but enjoyable in the small things it does different.
Yeah, the details matter.
It's too early to say where it's going to go.
It's still probably going to be isekai trash at the end of the season, but
he's still going to end up in a harem. It's just a fact.
I mean, we've already established he has at least 3.
Yeah, and I don't think his the magic girl was with him at that time.
No, the magic girl was the one they were selling.
Yeah. I did like at the end of the most recent episode, there's the chick in the jail.
Yeah.
And he just like does not give a fuck. They're basically brought him to jail, like, hey, we got to make sure he can actually kill someone. This will be his first kill.
Yeah.
Obviously, for a normal kid, doing your first kill would be a big deal. That's why they do this. But since he's already lived a life filled with killing people, He just does not give a fuck.
Yeah.
He just quickly cuts off her hand and be like, hey, this is a good death for you. You'll bleed to death real slow. Adrenaline's going to kick in. You won't even feel it. And then she's like, they told me that, if I could trick you into not killing me, they'll set me free. Basically just revealing herself as actually a bitch. And then he just fucking throws the dagger at her anyways.
Yeah. I mean, there was even that moment where it was obvious they chose someone who looked like his magic teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So he had that split second of like, oh, it looks like her. That just did not give a fuck.
Yeah, no. So that was good. It's been entertaining. We're going to probably keep watching it, but who knows if we'll be talking about it every single week, maybe.
It might have some uptime. But...
Yeah, it just depends on what you guys think. So let us know down below what you think of the finest assassin gets reincarnated as an aristocrat. Next up is My Senpai is Annoying.
Yeah, this is one I was really excited for.
When I heard the title, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was a generic high school anime. I was like, okay, I'll still watch it. It's not. It's about probably early to mid to late 20s, just working.
Yeah, I think she's like early 20s. He's early 30s. So
yeah, very enjoyable. They work at just generic Japanese company. they do stuff. They sales and stuff.
Yeah, they never actually mention a product. So
no, but they go out on sales runs, and it's literally just a short, cute girl. It's a rom-com.
Yeah.
Technically, I mean, you could argue that there's not a romance yet, but there is. So
I mean, for the first episode, maybe at this point, there's no arguing it.
Yeah, so it's about the main character, short, green-haired girl. Obviously, she's just a very semi-generic but still very entertaining anime girl. She, jumps to conclusions fast. She gets upset easily, but she's got heart of gold. And then, of course, we have I think his name's Takeda, who is her senpai. Her senpai at work. Big guy. Did judo in high school. We learned that in one episode. Yeah. Very kind, very boisterous. And I don't know. He's really not that annoying, to be honest. He's quite nice.
I mean,
the plot of the show is that he's annoying, but that's really just a her. It's really just
it's a clash of personalities. That's all it is.
Yeah. One of the most entertaining parts for me is that 98% of the show takes place in the workplace. Yeah, we've seen her at home a couple times. We've seen her and her friend maybe eating dinner. We see them go to different food places from their break at work, but most of it takes place in their actual office.
Yeah, most of it's in the office or something to do with work.
And the best part is that the main characters aren't even the best romance in the show because we're setting up the better romance anyways.
Yeah, you've got
Gray from Fairy Tail and that girl. Tell me he's not just Gray from Fairy Tail.
See, I didn't make that connection because he keeps his shirt on.
Yeah, now you won't unsee it, though. His hair and his face look the exact same.
He looks like... Oh, my God. He looks like Spiky Hair Ishiki from Kaguya.
You might even say he looks like Shiki from Eden Zero.
I'd buy that one a little more.
Thus, just black-haired Gray.
That's black-haired Natsu.
Yeah, black-haired Natsu. That's there is a different character who's gray, and he doesn't... I don't remember if he has black hair. But yeah, it's literally just like a slice of life rom-com, like work rom-com. You got to be, I guess, into that type of anime. It's not heavily romance. It's not like heavy comedy. It's just a little bit of everything. I don't know.
I mean, it's from a light read comedy manga, so you can't expect too much going into it, but it is honestly enjoyable to watch.
You just get classic plots. Like the most recent one was, Christmas. Buys her senpai a gift, has trouble giving it to him. She's like, how do I don't want to give him this gift in front of everybody because, it's kind of weird. I didn't buy them all gifts. She's like, I want to give him a gift, though, because, he helps me at work all the time. And
yeah, which I don't think anyone would have questioned it.
No, I mean, they might have made fun of her a little bit because that's just...
they do anyways.
That's what I'm saying. That's like her character at work, right? They always kind of make fun of her a little bit. It's just a good, entertaining show. I've been really enjoying it. I watched the first 2 episodes. I just watched them in one sitting, and then there was a 3rd episode came out the other day, and I watched that too. Yeah, it's just an enjoyable show. If you like slice of life, you'll probably like that show.
Yeah, and before we go any further, I do want to say, is the opening not way too well animated for what it is?
It is. I think that was something they just decided to do. They're like, hey, let's just do a good opening.
I absolutely adore it. And even just thumbing through Instagram or something, I see the video all the time, and I'm so happy.
You're like, I'll still watch it. But yeah, it's just been really good. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, you should check it out. I don't remember if anyone recommended that at all inside of our what should we watch on fall or anything like that or any of these comments in the past couple of videos.
I think we saw one recommendation for it, and I was so happy to see this was getting adapted. So.
Yeah, my main thing was just when I heard the title, I just figured it was another, you hear senpai, your first go-to is normally just high school.
Yeah, well, I mean, the last one we got was Uzaki, which wasn't.
That's true, yep.
I mean, I guess it's not the tease dare genre. But...
Technically, the last one we got was Nagatoro.
Was that after?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't watch Nagatoro.
Yeah, I only watched the first like 3 episodes. So there's 2 more I want to talk about real quick. One of them's gonna be fast because you haven't seen it. The other one's not on my list, but you're gonna be happy when I mention it because we forgot about it.
Okay.
So ranking of kings. Okay, let me tell you about this anime. It's got 2 episodes so far. Anime's got a heart of gold. When I try to describe this to you to watch it,
Your first word was Ghibli.
The art style looks like straight taken out of like Ni no Kuni. If you haven't seen that, level 5 Studio Ghibli collab for a game. The main character, it's a world where like it's all about power, right? Kings are powerful. This king of the city, huge. Like he's based off like this like ogre king that once lived.
Right.
His first son, so he's got a son with his first wife though, is born tiny as fuck. Like I'm talking like super tiny, not just tiny. He's born deaf and he's born mute. So everybody in the kingdom mocks him. They're like, what a fucking failure of a king, kind of thing.
Right.
But this kid, he moves on, he ignores them all, and he just like lives his life. The first episode, he runs into this like little shadow creature named, it's literally just a shadow with eyeballs.
Yeah.
And then the shadow keeps like robbing him of all of his clothes, and he goes back, and people keep mocking this little king for not having any clothes. Until like they kind of become friends, and the first episode's kind of with the king. The second one's more about like the Kage character. In the 2 episodes, I get like One Piece, like when you're in like that sad ass arc in One Piece, when you learn like what happened to Nami's mom, it's like when you get to those arcs, you're like, holy fuck, like this is so sad for these characters. We're 2 episodes in, and I've already been like, man, this is sad as shit.
Jesus.
But also, it's just got so much heart. The main character, deaf, mute, tiny, doesn't give up. The second episode, he has a fight with the second brother of the family, who's like the regal blonde kid who's good at everything. Being like, I should be king because my brother's a loser because he's deaf and mute and all that kind of stuff. They have a fight, and the kid's winning. Like the other kid's he's basically Daredevil. He's like dodging that kind of stuff, but he's physically weak. Until the point where they literally tell him, hey, stop fighting back. Just let yourself get beaten to shit because like people think you're being weird right now, and he ends up like with all of his arms broke. It's just like it's a lot of heart, a lot of character so far, and I'm excited to see where it goes because it's about these 2 characters, one being this like little kid, and then one just being this like little shadow. He's part of like a clan of family who they're not grown up. They're not born human. They're just like little shadow things, and they're like their whole family is like assassins. And that's what they were like hunted down and killed for it. So like as he escapes the life, his whole family's killed first. And now he just has to he does like highway robbery to like live.
So he goes and robs a kid of his clothes.
Yeah, and then the kid, he's like, "Hey, come back tomorrow with even better clothes." And the kid's like, "Okay," and he just keeps doing it because this is like the closest thing he's had to a friend. Until eventually, the shadow actually feels bad, follows him, learns about how tough his life. He's like, and he literally goes, he's like, I'm traveling with you from now on. We're taking no shit anymore. He's like, we're done, and it's just like a cute little friendship, and like animation looks really good, character art looks good, and I feel like it's gonna have a lot of heart. So 2 episodes out. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Okay.
The final thing, something that's not on here, is of course I've been kicked out of the Heroes Party. Didn't put on the list. I think both of us are caught up.
I am definitely caught up. Yeah.
It is another. It's not an isekai. Let's get that out of the way right away. It is a fantasy. Very much set. It seems sometimes like it's set in like the like a D&D like world.
Yeah, it's very much like you have a calling. You're given a birth, and
like one person was born to be a fighter. One person was born. It's not at birth. Yeah, it's after aging.
You awaken to it eventually.
Yeah, because like the one kid we see in episode 1, he wants to be a carpenter, but he doesn't have his calling yet. But he gets it, and it's like carpenter, sure.
Yeah. Then we see his friend, and it's like, oh, you got weapon master. It's like, oh.
Yeah, like even like the one kid, right, who's like brawler or whatever it was. It's like
it was bar brawler.
Yeah. It's like that kid now is fundamentally growing up to be aggressive because that's what it is. Like it doesn't necessarily make you like if your thing comes out, it's like brawler. It doesn't mean you have to become a bad person, but technically there's something inside of you driving you towards wanting to fight.
It gives you a predisposition towards violence.
Yeah, and that's what the main character in the newest episode was telling the one kid, like, hey, like don't let this control your life, like. But the big thing, of course, is just that this is a fantasy world where there's a demon lord and there's a hero party set out. The main character was the brother of the hero and part of the party. And at one point, the dick bag in the party group is like, "Hey, dude, we don't really need you. Like, you're kind of slowing us down. You're not the best fighter." Yeah. His like thing is what like
his calling is that of the guide.
Yeah.
His job is it's like those pre-promote characters you get in Fire Emblem. They get you through the early part of the game, but then he's kind of useless after that.
Yeah, they fall off hard.
Yeah.
So the guy's like, "Hey, you're slowing us down." The main character's okay, sick. Like that's fair. I'll leave. So he just goes off and he lives a life where and he in the first episode he collects herbs. He wants to open up his shop. He finally gets his shop after helping in the first episode, and then of course this one girl he met before along his way comes and joins him, and she's like, "Hey, let me live with you. Let me work the shop. I got some ideas how to like make it work well."
Yeah.
And it's really just this like relatively peaceful anime in this fantasy world, but of course we're still seeing little cuts of like the hero's party.
Yeah, we get to see a scene where she's like, "Hey, look, I found an assassin."
Yeah, we see like a lot of scenes where basically they're like falling apart without him. Like in the most recent episode, they're like, "Hey, can you please go find him? Like our party is like failing without him. None of this would happen if he was here."
Yeah, like literally everything he did that you're trying to do, you just absolutely suck at. You can't negotiate. You're horrible with supplies. You
And
piss
no one
off
like-
everyone.
Yeah,
you
and no
meet.
one likes you. Yeah, so it's just, but like I don't want them to find him though, because I'm liking his life.
Yeah.
I'm liking his name's Red right now. I'm liking his cool little relationship with Ren. You know, Rit, sure, whatever. Red and Rit.
Red and Rit's apothecary.
Yes, I don't know if she should have deserved her name on the board already, but
I don't know. She came up with a cookie idea, kind of.
I guess I'm liking their little relationship. Seems fun.
I do like how she just doesn't give a shit. She's very straight to the point.
Yeah, which is nice. You know, it's nice in anime. Even like the main character, like he doesn't fight it off as much as like a normal main character in anime would.
Yeah, and the fact that he realizes what's going on, he's like, "Oh, okay."
He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. He's like, I'm not doing much else. So, yeah, I don't know. It's very entertaining. It's kind of like, you know, I was gonna say it's kind of like an isekai. It's really just a fantasy.
Yeah.
But they took the idea of like the classic, oh, hero party has to go fight the demon lord, and they kind of turn it around a little bit by being like, well, this one doesn't. He left.
Yeah, this is what happens to the character you don't put in your party.
Yeah, you know, when you can only fit 4 people in your party and you got to get rid of one.
Yeah.
This is where he goes and becomes an apothecary. So it's entertaining. I feel like a lot of you have seen it. I think I've heard some pretty good things about it. Like I think people are liking it, which is good.
Yeah, it seems well received across the board. So,
which is always good because it's very entertaining. I realized that we didn't have it on the list here for things we've been kept up on.
I'm kind of surprised we both forgot that.
I literally only remembered it while we were talking about the assassin one because I was thinking about other like fantasy ones from this season. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Obviously, we mentioned early on we haven't seen Komi-san yet. We know it's out, and we know people probably want it.
True. I've been keeping him on Sakugan, but I know you haven't.
I have not yet. I haven't seen Demon Slayer as mentioned earlier yet. I will watch that at some point. I feel like there's something else that I would like to watch.
I mean, there's Muv-Luv, which we heard about.
There's the Meiruku-chan one, which I've heard is like horny and ghost. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of memes about it. I actually haven't watched it yet.
I see people like it. From what I heard, it's got like horror elements, but I've also heard that it's horny as hell. So that's interesting. There was another one too that people were saying. I don't remember what it was though.
Oh,
there was another one. People were like, oh, this show is also just horny as all hell too. Oh, it's the vampire one, Arena Vampire something.
Oh,
there's 2 vampire anime. This one's a comedy.
There's Irina the Vampire Cosmonaut.
Yes, that one where it's about sending vampires to space.
I watched the first episode though.
That one apparently is horny as all hell too.
Is it?
From what I've heard.
Okay, I watched the first episode and I did not get that at all. It's more
they do a lot of like zoom in on like lips being licked and stuff. From what I've seen, I don't know.
Maybe I just missed it.
And then the other one's the one where the vampire like insta dies every time something happens. It's like a comedy.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. I think that I'm watching more than I would normally watch. Obviously, there's a good chance some of these fall off, but like I hope not. And there's some of them I know, like the Ranking of Kings. I thought made like a big standard early on. Obviously, stuff like Mushoku Tensei 86. There's no fear of those ones falling off. It
definitely.
Really just comes down to the classic. Like there's 10 isekais out this season. Which one is going to be like the standout? Because of course we have like the Faraway Paladin or. We have the assassin one. We don't technically, once again, not an isekai, but same type of feeling.
Yeah, the fantasy
with
vibe.
the hero out of the hero's party one.
Which I mean, that one's also more like relaxed. There's not as much to talk about.
Yeah, which is good. It's almost like it's like a slice of lifeies kind of sense, which is kind of just the reincarnated as the slime side story one.
Yeah, or like what was the one from last season, Apothecary in Another World? Or
yeah, there's the drugstore one.
That's the one I was talking about.
There's also like my Saint's Magic is Omnipotent one, which is another semi one where it's like relaxing isekai.
Okay,
Stuff like
I
that.
saw that one. So.
Ascendance of a Bookworm.
True.
There's a bunch of that in that style, right? So it just depends on if you're a fan of that or not.
Yeah.
Some of them. What was the one where there's the demon daughter?
Demon daughter.
It wasn't an isekai; it was a fantasy, but like he was like a hero, and he went out and found like the girl, the really young, cute girl.
Oh, if it was for my daughter, I'd even fight a demon lord.
Yes, that one. I kind of forgot all about that till thinking about it right now. And I was like, that was kind of relaxing.
Also known as a desperate attempt to teach otakus how to be a father.
That's true. Hey, listen, Clanad did that for me. Thank you very much. And by that, I mean an awful father.
I was going to say, what the fuck?
That was by early on main characters in anime could become fathers. Like, up until that point, I had never seen a main character grow up in an anime.
I mean, that is sadly true.
He grows up, he becomes a father. Sure, him and his daughter die, but
everyone died.
Could have been a dream. Who knows? But that's pretty much all the stuff we have down for today. I'm curious if there's anything else we missed. Obviously, I know a lot of people probably want us to see like the Meiruku-chan, Muv Love Alternative, some of these like, maybe Sakugan that you talked about. Some of these other ones, I think that for the most part we have a lot of the big ones here, which is nice. And a lot of it's going to be which of these big ones can we keep up on. Other than I'd be curious as to what you guys think about Platinum End so far. I have mixed feelings about the one episode I saw.
See, I'm 3 episodes in. Even the way they left off the last episode, I'm kind of like, okay, I know what they're going for here, and I don't think it's as clever as they think it is.
I think part of it's just like right now in my exact mood, I'm not in the mood to be edgy. I'm really liking all this, like the relaxing stuff. I loved my relaxing episode of Mushoku this week. I liked, my Senpai's Annoying, the, Left the Hero's Party. These are all nice relaxing shows, and I'm into them right now. So
yeah, I mean, I think the issue with Platinum End is that it's very much in that same vein as Death Note. Mm-hmm. But Death Note was fresh and original when it came out, and now we've got dudes in superhero suits murdering people.
Yeah, like there could be some good twists in it that kind of make it stand out. It's just that it's like the general, vibe of the show currently is just not what I'm currently into. But yeah, I'm gonna keep watching it, keep giving it a try. I'm just curious. You guys can let us know what you think about Platinum End so far down below.
Like maybe it scales up significantly. Maybe it gets a lot better as it goes. And
it's, I mean, an anime should get a lot better as it goes, so it would make sense. It's just. It's that like, when we have so many other anime to watch, how many episodes are we going to attempt before we're like, okay, if I don't like this now, I got to stop watching it.
Yeah, I mean, if I give it another 2 episodes and I'm not liking it, I'm going to just write it off as the pedigree, got it animated, and just take it from there. But
yeah, exactly. But yeah, either way, just let us know what you think about it down below, and that'll kind of help us make decisions as to whether or not to keep watching it. And yeah, I think that's literally all we got.
Yeah, I think that's everything.
We've run through it all. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, or even if you're just clicking into the outro after only watching one part, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, all that kind of stuff. We try to respond to all the comments, especially in the first couple of days. Yeah. So leave one really early and we'll get back to you. And then, subscribe because we're trying to hit that 1,000 subs. Give us our community tab posts when we can post, if we're missing a week, or post polls, just post some sick meme pictures. Yeah. Neither of us social media very hard. I think we talked about that recently. So mainly because I hate all the different like outlets. Like there's too many of them to keep track of. But if I could just do it all from YouTube, I'd be happy with that. So yeah, just make sure you subscribe. If you have anywhere you want to share this, obviously we're going to try posting some of these episodes on Reddit. But if you have a Discord or Reddit, just friends in real life, you just want to send a video to, we'd appreciate that. We don't mind if it gets out anywhere. Hopefully people like it. And that's pretty much it. And thanks for watching, guys. We will be seeing you next week for episode number 49. We're almost at the big 50. So stay tuned. As always, I've been Cam.
I've been Jimmy.
Take it easy, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace.